What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time I am filming from my kitchen because I won't call it breaking news, but news came to my attention, and I was going to do a show anyway, as I always do with you guys, and I thought, excuse me, I always do this. So unprofessional. Sorry. And some breaking news came to my attention, and I thought, you know what? Let me come and share it with you. First and foremost, let me say hello to everybody in the chat room. All my regulars, people like Melina, Marbles, Justice, I see you, Jahid, Melina, Georgie, Capone, Mr. Wilden, I see you, and Liverpool, you never walk alone. As my friend Starboy would say, please do smash the likes as you come into the chat. It helps the show get noticed. It helps with the algorithms, and probably one of the things I think I don't speak enough of, I guess, is those of you guys who do take time to watch this on the playback. First and foremost, thank you for doing so. I don't take that with any kind of I don't presume that people watch this in the playback. And I know that I get a lot of my listeners, quite honestly, overnight. And it just shows that I have a very committed fan base. Oh, I hate saying fan base. I have a very committed listenership overnight. So from my American guys to the Aussie guys to wherever you are around the world. Anyway, thank you. One thing I will say to you guys is comment. You know, I'm always up for debating stuff, especially things that I don't particularly understand. Two commenters that come to mind that don't always catch my live chats are Ross Fitzpatrick and Sir Antonius Block. And those two guys are notorious, along with, of course, the young man Omar. And you know, I'm always like going back and forth with them. We don't always agree on stuff. And it's important that, you know, when we do these shows that we keep it as interactive as possible. I kind of run these shows how I kind of run life, really. If you come correct, I come correct. You know? I don't crap on anybody, and I don't expect to be crapped. I think you guys know that about me anyway. So I only say that because I know. Big shout out to Claude. I was on Claude's show yesterday. Had a number of people that subscribed to me from there. First and foremost, thank you for doing so. And hopefully I can keep you guys. That's the main aim. One little piece of housekeeping. Ignore this. Ignore this. Hairline is just gone. It looks horrible. It looks scruffy. I'm so self-conscious of it. I don't know where my damn king hat's gone. My crown is gone. I don't know where it's gone. So I've got to find that. So yeah, apologies for this. Apologies for this mess. All right. And again, I hope you guys are staying safe as well, most importantly. All right, let's open up with a story. And that is Mr. Thomas Partey. Every time I try and get away from this story, I think, oh, he ain't coming. You know that, Chris. He ain't coming. Arsenal are too cheap. And even if they ain't too cheap, why would Thomas Partey want to leave Atletico Madrid and come to us? And then somebody asked me a question 2 weeks ago, and I'll never forget it. Do you, in percentage-wise, how likely do you think it is that Thomas Partey comes to Arsenal? And if you notice, I didn't close it. With Upamecano, I've always been very adamant that I can't see him coming. Of course, I'm going to talk about Upamecano in the story again. And I still don't think that's going to happen. But I've always been adamant about that. But with the Thomas Partey thing, I can't help but think maybe. Because I do remember hearing a story last summer that actually he wanted to come. When Emre really wanted him, he was ready to go. But Arsenal didn't sanction the transfer, so they went for Lucas Torreira. Sorry, that wasn't last year, was it? It was the year before. So he was ready to come previously. All right, let's talk about this story. Thomas Partey apparently is very interested in a move to Arsenal. Not the Premier League, specifically Arsenal. What apparently he's told his friends privately is that he is very keen to move to the Arsenal. He's very keen to prove himself generally in the Premier League, and he doesn't want to just go to an easy team like a Man City or a Chelsea, which, let's face it, is what you all right go to a team where it's actually possible to win something, or Liverpool. He wants to come to Arsenal. He wants to. I guess this is the one pull we have, is that we're based in London. So therefore, from a London perspective, the only people really that we have to compete is Chelsea. Spurs, we have more history, not just taking shots. Just generally, Spurs, we have more history than them. And I told you guys before, Arsenal, for better or worse, in Africa, they are hella respected. There's only two teams I would say perhaps carry more cachet in Africa. That's Man United, of course, and that's Liverpool. Arsenal are right behind it. I mean, we are massive. I've told you guys this before. We are massive in Africa, particularly West Africa. We're very respected over in that region, and it's those tiny factors that made me think to myself, maybe we might be fluky enough to pull this shit off. Covertly, the other thing that is being discussed at the moment is Mr. Alexandre Lacazette. Atletico Madrid need a striker. For a while, they were chasing quite a few different strikers. Cavani was initially the one they wanted to settle on, but his wage demands are crazy. I mean, Atletico Madrid, in an effort to try and keep Thomas Partey, all they can offer him is £130,000 a week. So when Cavani swans in and says he earns £250,000 a week, they're like, no, I don't know about that. So understandably, they're a bit like, all right, well, let's see if there's anyone else we can go for. Oh, what about Lacazette? You wanted to come to us in the first place. And it makes a lot of sense for everybody all around. I think from Lacazette's point of view, got 2 years left on his contract. The fans, perhaps very unfairly, are starting to tap out on him a little bit. They're starting to kind of think to themselves, oh, maybe he's not as good as we hoped or thought he would be. Maybe it's time to cash in. A lot of fans like me are just practical with the situation. And I kind of, my feeling on it is I quite like Lacazette. I do. I'm probably one of the few people that still like him. But I don't necessarily think you become a bad player overnight. Having said that, we have an opportunity to get what I honestly believe is an elite player in Thomas Partey. I think he's so good. He's so good, and he's just coming into the prime of his ability and his career. And I think if we have an asset that will allow us to get a better asset, it just makes all the sense in the world to be able to exchange that asset and go and get the better asset, which in this particular case is Thomas Partey. He seems allegedly is keen. I'm going to say allegedly because this Thomas Partey story changes by the hour. So by tomorrow, this may have all changed. But allegedly, he's told friends that he's keen on coming. The family wants him here, in terms of his father and that. He allegedly wanted to come when Emre wanted him. All of these things, I feel like, are starting to slot into place for potentially a Thomas Partey arrival. Having said that, there is still the stumbling block of money. Just because we think Lacazette might be worth around the £45 million mark, don't necessarily mean that Atletico Madrid agree. And this was where the stumbling block could be. From my perspective, I hope the deal gets done. I like Lacazette, like you said, but for me, I've told you guys this before, my dream signing for this summer is Partey. I think he brings so much to the table. People have asked me before, do I prefer him or Ndidi? And I can completely understand people that say, well, Ndidi is younger, he's got Premier League experience. I think personally, Partey's all-round game is better than Ndidi's. By the way, that comes from the Nigerian. That should be back in Ndidi. And don't get it twisted. I think Ndidi, there is so much more to come to Ndidi's game. I'm, from a Nigerian perspective, very excited to see what happens. But from a club football perspective, if you ask me personally, who would I have right now? It'd be Partey. I think he's so defensively so good. Moving forward, he's so good. He's so accomplished on the ball. For everything I said about Sangare yesterday, and listen, I still sign him. I would still love him. I would still love him. I think what this guy gives you is more of a refined, accomplished ability. Sangare is still very raw talent that in a couple of years will be ripe for the picking. But Partey is a now player. This is a now player. And if we can somehow get that over the line, jeez, that's one, to me, that's one major part of our issues in our team. I've said it before. I said this a year ago. We don't need defenders. We need a defensive midfielder. And I think it's an insult to Thomas Partey to say he's just that. But my gosh, him and our team, alongside potentially someone else who's capable, would be, whew, goodness. I mean, personally, I would love it if we could somehow work a situation where we have Thomas Partey and then we have that abour kid from Leon. Oh, shit. Our midfield instantly becomes more dynamic. It becomes a little bit cuter. It has a little bit more guile. And I think we become defensively much more tighter than we have ever been. Because abour is not afraid to put a tackle in. So that's what I do like about him as well. But anyway, these are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? What were your thoughts when you saw this story? Are you excited? Do let me know in the comments below. And also, would you be sad to lose Lacazette? It seems like I'm one of the few people that still likes Lacazette. I still think he's a good player. He hasn't had a great season, but I don't automatically think now that he's become a crap player. So what would you do with Lacazette? That to me, it's an interesting conundrum because if by some weird coincidence Lacazette was to stay, we'd have to sign a new contract for him. Otherwise, we're in the same Aubameyang situation next summer, except for a hell of a lot less. I can't see him going for much more than 30 million next summer. So that's the issue with the Lacazette situation. But again, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Mkhitaryan, Henrik Mkhitaryan. So this was going to be my lead story. And that is, interestingly enough, I've been saying for weeks now, I don't understand why Arsenal won't just lower their demands. We're going to get 23 million for Henrik Mkhitaryan. At this point, just get him off the damn books. Whatever Roma are prepared to pay. And it seems like the Arsenal board are a fan of this show because today, I'm joking, by the way. Today, Arsenal have lowered the price for Henrik Mkhitaryan to £10 million. I told you guys last week, in fact, 2 weeks ago, I'd take 10 million for Henrik Mkhitaryan because ultimately, I'm not so fussed about the fee that we get in for him. It's more the benefit of getting 200k off the books because I think he's still got 18 months left of his contract. Take 10 million, move the fuck on. It was a swap deal that never really benefited us. He never really benefited United. I think we both got to take the L as a team, move the heck on. And I think for Mkhitaryan, good luck to him. Clearly, he's found his level at Italy. I don't even mean that as an insult. He clearly is doing well. They seem to want him. So I say before he's exposed. Let's just get rid of him, and for whatever price we can manage. And if it's 10 million, so be it. I hate the way the papers are reporting it. They're clever because they're trying to antagonize Arsenal fans when they're like, oh, Arsenal in a desperate plea to get transfer funds have lowered their price for Henrik Mkhitaryan to 10 million. Shut up. Shut up. It's things like that make me do things that I don't want to do. That's defending Stan. I don't want to defend Stan. I don't want to defend Stan. But things like that just make me think, okay, shut up. Like 10 million is going to make a huge difference to what we need. But I think in the long term, contractually, the wages side of things absolutely will make a difference. So we'll see what happens. Henrik Mkhitaryan, will you miss him? Let me know in the comments below. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about the fact that we need to scoop up Willian and we need to scoop up Ryan Fraser. I wouldn't just get them for the sake of, oh, well, they're decent players and they're free. So I think for me, it's about getting the right player. For example, I don't rate Adam Lallana, never have done. I'm sure Liverpool You Never Walk Alone will have an opinion on that. VP will probably have an opinion on that. It's not a player I particularly like, but I know that he's available this summer. And to me, and there's an argument that, okay, well, he can play in a number 10 spot and be an alternative to Mesut Ozil. From my perspective, I want someone that's going to give us something a little different, but also give us ultimately some quality. I don't want us to just sign a player because they're free. For example, you guys have heard me say I like Willian a lot. I think he's a very good player, very hard-working player. Probably doesn't get the goals and assists that his talent perhaps deserves because he's such a workhorse. He's almost in that kind of Firmino type of bracket. Just a hard-working Brazilian. From my perspective, though, I've always said the same thing. I wouldn't sign him for Arsenal. I think it sends the wrong message every time Arsenal pick up one of these rejects from the top clubs. It sends the wrong message. So that's one of the reasons I wouldn't do it. Secondly, this guy is on the wrong side of 30. And I know that sounds incredibly ageist, and I don't necessarily mean it to be, but I just feel like, as a winger, you're approaching 32. How much more are you really going to give us? Plus, I'm having Ben Ayoun flashbacks. Ben Ayoun's another one who I actually thought was decent for West Ham. Doesn't mean I actually wanted him. So when we signed him, I was just like, oh no. And we need to break out of this. We need to break out of this cycle of signing players that are just over the hill, and then we have the audacity to say that Chelsea are our rivals. In what way? We take their costs off. We're like the reverse feeder team for Chelsea. Only Arsenal would find themselves in that situation. The reverse feeder team. Honestly, it's madness. I hope Arsenal don't do it. The person I potentially would consider is Ryan Fraser, purely on the basis that he is something completely different to what we have. He's not a dribbler as such, but he's got Premier League experience. He's at a good age. He provides chances. And to me, I wouldn't necessarily play him as a winger. I'd consider him as an Ozil replacement in a lot of ways, just because I feel like what he does, I know he likes going to the byline and that, and he's so incredibly hardworking as well. I want to see what he does in that number 10 spot. I know number 10s notoriously don't work that hard, but I like the fact that he provides chances for his teammates. And I just feel like he can make an interesting impact on the team. Now, obviously, I kind of soured on this idea that, just as we're celebrating this Partey thing for the same reason, there was a story that very similar that came out a couple of days ago about Ryan Fraser, that he's told friends he wants to go to Tottenham, which kind of made me think, well, fuck him. So, if I am getting excited about Partey, I have to kind of almost sour towards Ryan Fraser for the exact same reason. But again, what would you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Leave it in the chat room. I think I've covered more or less everything I want to talk about. The only other thing I want to talk about was Mr. Mesut Ozil. And also, yeah, I talked about 6 signings for Arteta. So Mr. Mesut Ozil. So there was a story that came out this afternoon that Fenerbahce, once again, are very interested in signing Mesut Ozil. I would also say, before everyone holds their horses, before everyone gets excited, hold your horses. This is not for this summer. And I was like, oh, it's for the end of his contract. Now, I've said it from the get-go. To me, I don't know why this end of contract stuff has been a story with Mesut Ozil. Because I always kind of assumed, well, of course he's going at the end of this contract. Do you think Arsenal are going to give him more than 350? They can't afford the 350. Why would they give him more than that? And I would imagine if Mesut Ozil is going to go to a Fenerbahce, yes, he would have to take a pay cut. I have a feeling, though, his signing on fee will be a decent one, particularly as a free agent. So from my perspective with Mesut Ozil, it kind of is what it is. What is there to be said that hasn't been said already? And before you know it, you end up getting into arguments with people. So I'll keep it very brief. It is what it is with Mesut Ozil. He's always said that he wants to play in Fenerbahce, maybe for a year or two. I think it'll be a good move for him. It will certainly be a good move for us. I can't wait for the 350 to come off our books. And to be honest, I can't wait for this whole Mesut Ozil drama to just finish. Just finish so we can move on and move past it. It's boring having the same conversation about Mesut Ozil all the time. But again, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Now, there is one more story I wanted to talk about. Before I talk about it, please do stick a like on this video. Absolutely crush that like button for me. You know I'd appreciate it when you guys do that. As I always say, the donations are super helpful. They are super helpful. I got my tripod arrived today, so I'm going to be using it a lot more, trying to film certain stuff with my phone, because my phone camera is amazing and I don't use it enough. And a tripod helps with that. And that is literally being helped by you guys that donate, that watch my annoying adverts. It all helps go into the show, and I'll reinvest it back into the show. But what I always say to you guys, however, though, is even if you can't donate, not everyone can. And I most certainly don't expect anyone to do so. The best type of donation is those thumbs up. So make sure you drive those thumbs up through the roof. That really helps the show get noticed. All right, let me just have a quick look at what is out there. Just bear with me. Yes, the Kroku story, yes. So let me just get his name up so I can say his name properly without butchering the thing. Poor kid. She spelled it wrong because I'm an idiot. Hold on. Kroku. Feyenoord. Sorry, this is amazing podcast work for anyone who's just listened to the audio of this. All right. So yes, Orkan Koku, who's the attacking midfielder for Feyenoord. Just like I said yesterday, every time we're linked with a player, Chelsea are linked with a player. It feels like they are doing what Spurs did to us a couple of years ago, where they just jump on every single transfer target we have. And this one is no different. They've decided miraculously they also need a number 10. And this Kroku guy is it. So he's going to provide some competition. The price for him seems to be 23 million, which prior to the pandemic didn't seem like a crazy amount. But as it seems like we're going to lose out on Champions League football, Europa League is most certainly not completely out of reach, but it's also not impossible. We missed that as well. Money might be difficult to come by this summer. And a deal like 23 million, particularly after you spent 45 million on Partey or a swap deal on Partey, does seem like a lot of money, especially on an unproven 19-year-old. But there's something about this kid that just makes me think he could be worth it. Chelsea are now involved. They're planning to contact his representative soon. And we'll see what happens. For me, I feel like we need a number 10. There does seem to be a lot of emphasis on that. I think we need more of a number 10 than we do a left winger. I'd personally like to see Saka move back to his original position. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. And last but most certainly least is Kazawa from PSG. He's the PSG left back who's out of contract with the French team this summer. Oh, I said I'll talk about Upamecano too. I'll talk about him as well. He's out of contract this summer. He's being linked with a move to the Arsenal again. And Arsenal are desperate to have him, which is interesting. From my perspective, because you do worry, because this has coincided with stories that Leicester are on Tierney, and you never know what kind of mad offer Leicester could get. And Tierney might think, oh, it's nice to be wanted, let me bounce. I can't see this happen. Just for the effort that we went for Tierney last summer, I can't see them selling him a year later before he's had a real chance to show us what you can do. Plus, I liked his answer the other day. He goes that, you know, he was talking about Celtic, and obviously Celtic is his boyhood club. He clearly loves them dearly. So then people were like saying, so why did you move to London? He said, simple. I moved to London for no other reason other than to play for Arsenal. It wasn't to sightsee, it wasn't to because of a new experience, it was to pay for Arsenal. And I thought, okay, good. Okay, good. I like that. Short, simple, more of that, please. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I can't see him going Leicester. I can't see us being so stupid. So we'll see. But clearly we're keen on a left back because that's the second one we've been linked with this summer. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And finally, Diot Upamecano. Oh my gosh, that's another one I can't seem to get away from. So the president has accepted that, you know, he needs to be sold. And the price tag for Diot Upamecano is £51 million. And now it's opened up back up to us and is being heavily linked with us. Arsenal, of course, are a little bit doubtful as to whether or not they're going to complete that deal. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Do you guys think we should go for Upamecano? I personally don't, but what do you guys think? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. All right, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get up out of here. It was a very, very quick show, I know. Apologies for that. I'll do a longer show tomorrow, but I hope you guys are well. Please do stick a like on this video. And yeah, I'm out of here. But enjoy your evening, stay safe, and yeah, take care. Peace.